Mike Johnson. Let's listen.
Of keeping the government open until just now. In fact, I want to read to you an excerpt from 7 months ago, his floor speech on March 13th, 2025. This is Senator Chuck Schumer in March of this year. Quote, on the Senate floor, while the CR bill is very bad, the potential for a shutdown has consequences for America that are much, much worse. I believe it is my job to make the best choice for the country to minimize the harms of the American people. Therefore, I will vote to keep the government open and not shut it down, unquote. Now, what was Chuck Schumer talking about? The exact same bill that is on the floor today. That's what he himself said. And he did vote to keep the government open. And then, during an interview with Jake Tapper on CNN following that vote, on March 14th of this year, he said, quote, I'm proud I did it. I know I did the right thing, unquote. That is Chuck Schumer himself. Today's the exact same scenario. It is the exact same vote. It is the exact same spending levels. And he has no reason whatsoever to do anything different, except for the politics. So that's fact number two. Fact number one was Schumer's record. Fact number two is his calculation today. It is purely about politics. He is recognizing the reality of the political winds changing in the state of New York. As I mentioned yesterday, they are likely to elect a Marxist to be the mayor of New York City, and Chuck Schumer is terrified by that. He's been in Congress a long, long time, and he is not the flavor of the day. He's not far enough left for the Marxist, and he knows he's going to get a challenge from his left flank. So he has to show a fight against President Trump, no matter how ridiculous it is, no matter how distracting it may be to the actual issues of the day. He's got to do that. Democrats have been in the political wilderness since last year's election. I got a couple of numbers for you here. Just over a week ago, Quinnipiac released the latest poll, the lowest favorability rating for the Democrat Party ever recorded. They're at about 30%. 30% favorability. Democrats have hit historic lows in poll after poll since the beginning of this year. Wall Street Journal poll, CNBC poll, the Pew survey, et cetera, et cetera. You've all seen it. Many of you reported on it, or have reported on it, and that is a fact that is inescapable. Third fast fact this morning, the Democrats' record on the CRs. You know about Chuck Schumer's record, but they've all done it. Democrats and Republicans have worked together to pass 13 CRs to keep the government open under the Biden administration in the previous four-year term. Democrats supported every CR close to unanimously in the House and the Senate. In fact, their average is 99%. 99% of the Democrats who are voting no right now voted yes 13 times on the almost exact same, word for word, very simple CRs to keep the government open. But they won't do it now. The fourth fast fact this morning is the actual cost of the Democrats' CR counterproposal. I showed you all the graphics and all the evidence, and it's still there on my website at speaker.gov. You can go and see. The Democrats' counterproposal, what they're demanding to reopen the government and get it working for the American people again, would result in nearly $200 billion being spent on health care services for illegal immigrants and other non-citizens. It's enough to fund the entire children's health insurance program, $200 billion. And that's just part of the $1.5 trillion in new spending that they want to hoist upon the American people for big liberal wish lists in the middle of a very simple 7-week stopgap funding measure to keep the lights on. Fifth fast fact, and I'll take your questions, the cost of the government shutdowns for real people. So this results in crippling economic losses right now. These are the latest numbers. We've been assembling these, and I'm sure many of you all have been reporting on it. Each week the shutdown continues, it will wipe out an estimated $15 billion in our gross domestic product in our country. A month-long shutdown would mean not just 750,000 federal civilian employees furloughed right now, but an additional 43,000 more unemployed Americans across the economy, because that is the effect, the ripple effect that it has in the private sector. You could go state by state, and we could have charts and graphs this morning and show you what it's going to mean to every state, but what the shutdown means in the state of New York, for example, that's Chuck Schumer's state. The impact there is a decline of $1.2 billion per month in GDP. That is the pain that is being wrought. And I, again, have to mention that when you shut down, as they have, women, infants, and children nutrition programs, veterans health services, the disabled, the elderly who receive health care at home, all these programs are now being shuttered because the funding streams have stopped. We have troops, we have Border Patrol agents, TSA agents that are all serving, protecting all of us, protecting the country without pay right now. Real hardships for real families, and it cannot drag on any longer. We are pleading with the Democrats in the Senate to do the right thing. The Republicans are united 100%, and we have proven it with our votes. The President, the Republicans in the Senate, and of course the Republicans in the House have done the right thing. We have all advocated to keep the government open. We have all voted repeatedly over and over to keep the government open. And it comes down to the necessity of 60 votes in the Senate. We only have 53 Republicans. And so we have to have a handful of Democrats who will wake up and do the right thing and stop inflicting pain on the American people so that they can score political points. I'll take your questions. Yes, ma'am. Hey.
I would like to know, do you think all those federal employees will receive the back pay if they keep their job? And then also, we saw in the Democrats' CR almost $500 million for PBS and NPR, $174,000 in death benefits to those 3 Democrat lawmakers' families who recently passed away, $437 million for the European Bank. Could you also comment on those 3 provisions too?
Yes, I mentioned in the counterproposal, the CR for the Democrats presented, it's $1.5 trillion, and if you go through it, and we have, and you analyze what it is they're requesting, it's a list of absurd priorities. They know that we could never do that and would never do it because it's wrong. For example, they want to give $500 million back to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. In the One Big Beautiful Bill, we eliminated that line. We don't believe that taxpayers should be funding biased news organizations and subsidizing their operations. That might have made sense 30 or 40 years ago, but you don't need that service anymore. Look how many media outlets are present in the room this morning. Media and information is ubiquitous. It's 24/7. It's live all the time, and it's on the internet. We don't need taxpayers funding that, and they were all left-leaning, biased organizations. We're not doing that again. And some of these other priorities that you mentioned, there are many that we could list that are just outrageous. It has nothing to do with the current proposal to keep the government in operation for 7 more weeks so that we continue the appropriations process. We're trying to fund the government, and you need Republicans and Democrats to work together to get that done. With regard to whether the furloughed civilian employees of the federal government will receive back pay, it is true that in previous shutdowns, many or most of them have been paid for the time that they were furloughed. But there is new legal analysis. I don't know the details. I just saw a headline this morning. I'm not read in on it, and I haven't spoken to the White House about it. But there are some legal analysts who are saying that that may not be appropriate or necessary in terms of the law requiring that back pay be provided. So I'm sure that'll be there will be a lot of discussion about that. But there are legal analysts who think that that is not something that government should do. That, if that is true, that should turn up the urgency and the necessity of the Democrats doing the right thing here. Even more pain, more than I just listed, for more people. So we got to figure it out. Back row, yes, sir.
Speaker, you've spoken repeatedly since the shutdown began about the impacts on FEMA, the National Flood Insurance Program. Talk about how you're from a hurricane state. If this is a priority for you, why not bring the House back and vote on a reauthorization for NFIP or for WIC or troops pay or all those things for that matter?
Well, there's a lot of issues that we need to address, and we work on flood insurance, the flood insurance program all the time, those of us in hurricane states. But the work of the House has been done, and we have to get the Senate to reopen the government so that we can come back and handle all of these very important end-of-the-year issues. There's a lot of things on the table. FEMA has sufficient resources right now.
I want to break away from Speaker Johnson's comments and take you now outside the Capitol building in Washington, where lawmakers are talking on this second anniversary of the October 7th attacks in Israel and some proposed legislation. Let's listen in.
Who is with us today fighting for her partner, who's still being held by Hamas terrorists. You'll hear from Alana in a minute. It's hard to believe that it's been 2 years since Hamas terrorists brutally raped, burned alive, decapitated, and murdered more than 1,200 innocent babies, children, women and men, and elderly, including dozens of Americans. The deadliest attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. 913 IDF soldiers lost since then, 18 minors left orphaned, 48 still remain hostage in Gaza, as I mentioned, including 2 Americans. It's hard to wrap your head around, but as Scripture tells us, you shall not stand by the shedding of your fellow's blood. We will not sit idly by, and we have not sat idly by since the 7th. We will do as we've done every day since. We will keep working until every last hostage is freed. Jewish tradition teaches us that freeing captives is considered not only a mitzvah, but also a supreme obligation in Jewish law. We hold the names of those held captive in Gaza close to our hearts and repeat them into America's ears so they may never fade, ever. The photos of every hostage freed, still captive, and those we lost are posted outside my Capitol Hill office. I want every visitor to the United States Capitol to be reminded of them. And as the clock ticks, it's more important to repeat the stories of those like Hirsch, Goldberg Poland, an Israeli American who would have turned 25 just last week, but was taken hostage and killed. His mother reminds us it's as if everybody is family in this. It is incumbent upon all of us to keep up awareness and to keep working to bring them all home. We must never forget. We speak of 24-year-old Avitar David, who was taken during the Nova Music Festival and forced to dig his own grave for Hamas propaganda while being starved and tortured. A freed hostage, Eli Sharabi, said his captors ate like kings, gorging on humanitarian aid intended for civilians, while hostages survived on just a meal a day of moldy bread and crawled through tunnels lined with rats and insects. But as Eli said, surviving is building from lots of small victories. And my constituent, 21-year-old Adon Alexander, who I saw this morning from Tenafly, New Jersey, went to Tenafly High School and endured 584 days of relentless torture and suffering at the hands of Hamas terrorists, but thankfully was brought home. His remarkable courage continues as he returns to serve in the Israel Defense Forces because he refuses, like we won't, to let evil triumph over peace. We must never allow that. We will fight to honor their memory and so many others by molding our pain from that tragic day into action and ensuring that American children know their heroism and the savagery of Hamas terrorists. Only by ensuring that true facts, not some social media cooked up fiction, by ensuring they know those facts, we know that it'll never happen again, like the Shoah. We must always shine a light, one that flickers in gold. That's why today I'm proud to announce new bipartisan legislation, the October 7th Gold Medal Act, to award the Congressional Gold Medal, the highest civilian honor bestowed by the United States Congress, to the American hostages and victims of October 7th, including those Americans who survived in captivity in Gaza in recognition of their profound suffering and sacrifice. I'm very grateful that Steny Hoyer has joined me, as so many others have, in that legislation. For more than 2 centuries, our nation has honored exceptional service through the Congressional Gold Medal, a tradition that stands a testament to the values that unite us. This gold medal will properly recognize the suffering and profound sacrifice of those Americans killed and the bravery of those held captive. After hearing the suffering the victims have experienced, those inhumane conditions, and their unwavering spirit to persevere, we cannot let another day go by without recognizing their sacrifice and enshrining our commitment to them. Second, we are introducing a bipartisan resolution in the House today that condemns the atrocities committed by Hamas on October 7th and calls for Hamas to immediately surrender, cease attacking Israel, and release all hostages. It reaffirms Israel's right to self-defense from terrorist threats and any threats that seek her destruction. It also commits to ensuring the humanitarian aid reach innocent Gazans who are being used by Hamas as human shields. Last but not least, it strongly condemns and denounces all instances of anti-Semitism and commits to combating the hatred in all forms. We're proud to have the support of the ADL, the AJC, the Federation, Jewish Women's International, FTD, Hadassah, and the National Council of Jewish Women on this critical bipartisan legislation. Third and finally, and then I will turn it over, we're introducing the bipartisan...
Now back inside the Capitol building, where Senate Majority Leader Senator John Thune is speaking at that lectern that we showed you at the top of the hour. Let's listen in.
And people who are paying the price. The program funding for the WIC program, Women's, Infants, and Children program, was about set to expire. I think the White House is trying to figure out a way to move resources around to be able to keep that program up and funded. Telehealth, hospital at home, programs like that have expired, meaning that hospitals are losing and patients are losing their flexibility and making it harder to cover the people who need to be covered. And then, of course, the this week paychecks start being affected for federal workers, and that is going to have real consequences for them and their families as well. So this shutdown continues to create more and more problems, and the Democrats are going to get another chance. They've already voted 5 different times now to keep the government shut down and against opening up the government, which we have from our colleagues in the House, a clean funding resolution, which is nonpartisan, something that 13 previous occasions during the Democrats' majority here in the Senate and the Biden presidency, almost all Democrats voted for, all 13 times. This is a fairly routine thing that happens down here, it happens around here on a regular basis. So instead, what they've tried to do is hijack this to get $1.5 trillion in new spending. And that's just, there's no universe in which that's going anywhere around here. This is a very simple and straightforward proposition. The Democrats want to have a conversation about the COVID tax credit cliff that they created, and at some point we're happy to have that conversation, but not until the government opens up. Again, the consequences for the American people are very real, and this just has to stop, and it could stop today. We have the bill in front of us. It's in the Senate. House has passed it and supported it. President is ready to sign it into law. Could do it today. All we have to do is pick it up off the desk, as you all know. And if there are a handful of Democrats, a few more Democrats who are willing to vote with us, we can get this government opened up again and limit the impact and the effect that it has, the consequences, the adverse consequences on the American people. I'm glad to welcome our colleague, the leader of the House of Representatives, my partner, Speaker Mike Johnson.
Thank you, Leader Thune. I appreciate you inviting me to the Senate lunch today. That happened within the last hour, and I visited with my colleagues over here on this side and affirmed to them that we are all 100% united, and it's a good position to be in. When the facts and the truth are on your side, it's easy to present and defend that to the public. The President is united with us as well. He knows that we are doing the right thing for the right reasons at the right time. The House passed the continuing resolution. It was clean, and you all know we've been saying this every day. Now, entering, I guess, the end of the first week of the Democrat shutdown, there's no reason for them to have done that. The CR was completely clean. It was 24 pages in length, and it is the bare minimum to keep the lights on so that government can continue to work for the people. Real pain is being felt by real people around this country because Chuck Schumer and the Democrats over here are playing political games. We all know the reasons why. They have selfish motivations because they're trying to cover themselves for their left flank. In my press conference this morning on the other side, in the other chamber, I mentioned that Chuck Schumer has been in Washington for 44 years. He began his congressional career when I was in 3rd grade. I was 9 years old when he came to this building. And ever since he came here, throughout his career, he has been a fierce advocate for never closing down the government. I mean, he gave impassioned speeches most recently as 7 months ago in March of this year, when he stood before the cameras and he gave an impassioned speech on the Senate floor saying that it would be dangerous and destructive and terrible to close down the government, that he had to do the right thing. Right after he took that vote, he went on to the national media. He did a big interview on CNN, I think with Jake Tapper, and he said, "I'm proud of my vote. I know I did the right thing." What changed? What changed? Nothing's changed except his political calculation. He's afraid that a Marxist is going to challenge him in his reelection because Marxism is in vogue in New York City, apparently, and he represents the state of New York. They're going to elect a Marxist for mayor. It's a shocking development, and I think it's shocking to Chuck Schumer as well. Nothing he factored in when he came here in 1981, but that is the political winds now. And so he's playing games, the American people's livelihoods and their actual lives. This is not a game. Leader Thune just mentioned, this gets very real. Checks to our troops will be held up October 15th if they don't come in here tomorrow and vote to reopen the government. You have to get it resolved by October 13th, which is Monday, in order to process those checks. I come from a big military district. I have Barksdale Air Force Base. The Home Global Strike Command is there. I have Fort Polk, the Joint Readiness Training Center. We have young airmen and soldiers deployed around the world right now defending our freedom. And they've left their young families at home. They're dependent upon that check on October 15th. And some of them, sadly, also rely upon WIC funding, Women, Infants, and Children Nutrition Programs. That's suspended as well. Why? Because Chuck Schumer wants to play political games. I do not understand it. I hope every journalist here listening today will go and demand him to do the right thing. Ask him the question, why are you doing it? He has no justification. They have created a distraction. They're trying to pretend this is about a end of the year policy decision on health care, and it is not. It's a clean, simple CR. Let's keep the government open so that we can do this work and continue those debates. Again, thank you, Leader Thune, for your leadership, and I'm sure you'll take a few questions.
What's that?
The OMB lawyers, the top lawyer at the OMB on the 2019 statute on back pay. He says it's not guaranteed for federal workers that are impacted here. And President Trump followed that up saying that it wasn't certain that all employees would get back pay. Have you taken a look at that memo, and what is your interpretation?
I haven't looked at the memo specifically yet. My assumption is that furloughed workers will get back pay. But that being said, this is very simple. Open up the government, and this is a non-issue. We don't have to have this conversation. Everybody gets paid when the government is open. The Democrats can do it by delivering a handful of votes this afternoon. We could go in there and we could open up this government. The President's ready to sign it into law, as the Speaker pointed out. If that doesn't happen, there are a lot of really bad things that happen to the American people. And there are going to be a lot of people who aren't going to be getting paychecks. And you know, he mentioned our troops. That is something that becomes a reality starting next week.
Speaker Johnson. Your strategy over the weekend was to convince these 5 Democrats to suddenly vote. That strategy appears to have failed. You voted Friday. You had failed votes last night. Why weren't you able to convince them to change their position?
I think there are a lot of Democrats who are being bludgeoned by their political left, and because they desperately want to pick a fight with this president. This is something, as we said earlier, that 13 different occasions Democrats in the Senate voted for when they had the majority and President Biden was in the White House. And you have to ask yourself the question, what's changed? What's changed is the President of the United States is now President Trump. And so this is all about politics. But I think they're under enormous pressure from their political left. I think they're under enormous pressure from their leadership. But they're going to have to be some brave souls who are courageous enough to come out and deliver the votes to open up the government. When they do that, all these questions and these bad consequences and things that are being talked about here go away.
Speaker Johnson, there was a moment earlier this year, you swore in 2 Republican members during a pro forma session. So why not swear in Adelita Grijalva, who was elected 2 weeks ago during a pro forma session? Does it have to do with her 218th signature on the discharge petition, the Epstein discharge?
No, it has nothing to do with that at all. We will swear her in when everybody gets back. It's a ceremonial duty. Look, we'll schedule it, I guess, as soon as she wants. It has nothing to do with it. We're in pro forma session because there is nothing for the House to do. The House has done its job. People say, why don't you do more? Let's do more. Now you should do something. We already did something. It was passing a clean CR. We did it over 2 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago now, and we sent it over here. This should have been a simple traditional thing that's been done. This is customary. There's nothing new under the sun. And in fact, it's exactly the same thing that Chuck Schumer voted for in March. So the House will get back to our normal order and doing our job as soon as he votes to reopen the government, because real people's lives are hanging in the balance right now. This is not a joke. It is beyond me that they're going to continue to dig their heels in and resist this. And I think the American people increasingly are going to let them know that. I was looking at a morning consult poll this morning. The needle is moving. More and more Americans are looking at the facts, and they're determining that it is indeed the Democrats who are responsible for this. Republicans are voting over and over and over to open the government. The president is pleading with them, open the government. And Chuck Schumer and 43 of his colleagues here in the Senate, the Democrats refuse to do it. I think it's shameful, and I think they're going to have a lot to answer for. And I don't know how much longer they'll be able to withstand this pressure, but we'll keep doing our job.
Speaker Johnson, a question, please. I know you said the House
House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune answering some questions outside the Senate chambers. That is a live picture, staking out the Republican point of view on this 7th day of the government shutdown. We do have some comments from House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries lined up. We'll get to those in a moment. But we do want to take you to a live picture outside the ICE facility in Portland, Oregon, which has been the focus of a lot of conversation and tension in recent days. President Trump has said he wants to send National Guard troops to Oregon, to Portland. He has characterized a war-ravaged area, while local authorities say the tensions have been isolated to a city block general geographic area. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, we are told, is in Portland at the ICE facility, or she will be at some point. As we look at this picture, Portland police are on standby. There is some photographers beyond that yellow line, and we do not see any, beyond some signage, any protesting going on. We will take this moment to note that the Associated Press reports, excuse me, scratching my eye here. Associated Press reports that Texas National Guard troops, several hundred of them, have reported to an Army Reserve Center south of Chicago. Governor Abbott has answered the president's call to provide troops to Chicago. They have not been deployed, but they have been, other than to report to the Army Reserve Center there as well. We continue to monitor all of these things, and we will have more for you after the break.
Fox 26 is your subscribe today.
Welcome back to Houston Live and Local. I'm Tom Ziska. We want to get back to the conversation about the 7th day now of the federal government shutdown. We have heard from Republicans, but as promised, we do have House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who spoke with reporters earlier today. Let's listen into that.
Furloughed workers may not get back pay. What is your reaction to that guidance? And is it your expectation that some type of language to ensure
Donald Trump and his administration have been torturing federal employees since the very beginning of his presidency, engaging in mass firings, harassing them, brutalizing them, laying people off without justification, and violating the law. So let me be clear to those hardworking federal employees who are now being victimized by this Trump Republican shutdown. We continue to stand with you, and we'll stand with you as we've done from the very beginning of this presidency. And the law is clear. Every single furloughed federal employee is entitled to back pay. Period, full stop. The law is clear, and we will make sure that that law is followed.
Mr. Leader, good morning. Thank you. I've been to dozens of these press conferences with you where you've had a screenshot up here of something that Marjorie Taylor Greene has said, usually something outrageous. Today, you're saying that she's making your point. Is the enemy of my friend in this case?
What I'm saying is that Democrats have been crystal clear that this fight is about the health care of the American people. Marjorie Taylor Greene acknowledges this fight is about the health care of the American people. It's Republicans, in terms of the leadership, that is missing in action, that is currently on vacation, that has canceled votes, and that refuses to deal with the health care crisis that Republicans have created. The cost of living in America is far too high. The Trump tariffs are adding thousands of dollars of additional expenses to everyday Americans. Right now, rents out of control. Right now, housing prices out of control. Right now, electricity bills skyrocketing. Right now, grocery costs out of control. Right now. And because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, as Marjorie Taylor Greene herself has acknowledged, tens of millions of people are about to experience dramatically increased health insurance costs. How is that acceptable in the wealthiest country in the history of the world? It's not. And a growing number of Republicans clearly are adopting the enlightened Democratic position that this fight is about the health care of working class Americans, middle class Americans, and everyday Americans. Thanks. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Speaker Johnson spent some time in his statements this morning talking about New York and the impacts that'll see from the shutdown, saying that the state will lose $1.2 billion a month in GDP as the shutdown stretches on. Also, a recent CBS poll found majority of Americans are really concerned about the economic impacts of the shutdown. You say you speak with your constituents often. What are you hearing from them about the impacts that they're seeing? What's the attitude about the shutdown that they're having?
Democrats are really concerned about the Trump Republican shutdown and the fact that this is part of a pattern of continuing to devastate the American economy. The overwhelming majority of Americans right now, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or independent, collectively believe that the country is heading in the wrong direction. And the Republican shutdown is making things worse. Making things worse. Which is why we need to come to the table. We have repeatedly said, Leader Schumer, Senate Democrats, House Democrats have repeatedly said, we will sit down anytime, any place with anyone in the Trump administration or amongst congressional Republican leadership to reopen the government and to enact a spending agreement that actually makes life better for the American people. But it has to make life better for the American people, not for the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. For everyday Americans, and it has to address the Republican health care crisis. Let me also make one other thing clear. This fight is not about what Speaker Johnson or Republicans want to make this Trump shutdown and this fight about. It's not about Chuck Schumer, and it's not about Hakeem Jeffries. It's about the American people. Democrats are fighting for you, the American people. Working class Americans, everyday Americans, and middle class Americans. That's what this fight is all about. people who have been suffering under the extremism of Trump and Republican policies, hurting everyday Americans to reward their billionaire donors. And the American people have had enough of the extremism that has been unleashed on them by the Trump administration and their failures around the economy. Costs aren't going down, they're going up. And we can't allow tens of millions of Americans who are both on the Affordable Care Act, like many veterans, or who get their health insurance through their employers, to experience massive hikes to their health care premiums, co-pays, and deductibles. That's what this fight is all about. It's not about us. This fight is about you, the American people. You deserve better. Thanks. Back. Yep.
If Reagan files Senate Democrats a negotiated deal that hasn't matched exactly what you described, would you provide votes in the House to reopen the government?
Well, with respect to anything that emerges from the Senate, we'll have to evaluate it on its merits, and that's our intention. Leader Schumer and I are in regular contact. House Democrats and Senate Democrats are in regular contact with each other. And I'm thankful for the fact that Senate Democrats have continued to strongly and boldly hold the line. What is John Thune doing? What are they doing? 5 times they've brought this dead-on-arrival partisan Republican spending bill to the floor for a vote, and it's gone down 5 times. That's legislative insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. It's not happening. It's not happening because House Democrats and Senate Democrats are standing up for the health care of the American people. So to the extent that anything emerges in terms of bipartisan discussions amongst Senate Democrats and Senate Republicans with full visibility involving House
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries in some recorded comments outside Capitol, well, outside the Senate chambers. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, we are told, is making some comments. Listening to him.
5th time on their failed Republican CR. Senate Republicans are trying to run the same failed play and expecting a different result. And the House, even worse. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers are furloughed. Thousands more are working without pay. And meanwhile, House Republicans are getting paid and not working. So federal workers working and not getting paid, House Republicans paid and not working. Very bad thing for them, very bad picture for them, very bad action for them. And now the Republicans are beginning to flip-flop. They're realizing the power of the health care argument from one end of America to the other. Just last week, House GOP conference chair Lisa McClain, and a member of the leadership, said not to make the message about health care benefits because ours lose that argument. Then yesterday, Speaker Johnson couldn't even look directly into the camera, saying his party is the party working to fix health care. A week or 2 ago, he didn't want to talk about it. Now he finds he has to talk about it, forced by the American people because they care so much about the issue. That's right, he said Republicans, the party that ripped health care away from millions of Americans to pay for tax cuts for the rich, the party that right now is refusing to actually address the health care crisis they created, refusing to extend the ACA tax credits, are now forced to talk about the very thing they were afraid to talk about, health care costs. And why? They know they're wrong. They know they're on the wrong side of the American people. Our position, Democrats' position, has been totally consistent. It hasn't changed. We want what an overwhelming majority of Americans want: to end this shutdown and address the health care crisis that will send premiums soaring for millions. 80% of Americans want to extend the ACA tax cuts. Amazing, even more amazing, 58% of Trump voters want to extend the ACA tax cuts. We can and must do both. It's not an either or. End the shutdown and protect Americans' health care. It's not a choice. Republicans don't have to make it one. After weeks of asking Trump and Republican leaders to negotiate, yesterday Trump told reporters he's already talking to Democrats. Well, that's not true. But Leader Jeffries and I are happy to make it true. Democrats remain ready to seriously negotiate with Republicans to address the health care crisis and get out of the Republican shutdown. But we need everyone at the table. Hakeem and I, President Trump, Leader Thune, and of course, Speaker Johnson. But however, Speaker Johnson has been a massive roadblock to getting anything done. His members aren't even here doing their jobs. They've been home for weeks. He's not serious and he doesn't give a damn. Instead of doing his job, he's spreading lies, typical Johnson MO, to distract from his total incompetence to get a deal. Let's be clear. Democrats are fighting to protect Americans' health insurance. We're not pushing to give health insurance to undocumented immigrants. That's a lie. It's been proven to be a lie over and over again, but he doesn't care. He just keeps restating the lie because he's so afraid of the truth. Republicans' big old ugly bill will kick millions of American citizens off health care and drive costs through the roof. They know they're on the wrong side of this. More than 80% of Americans agree with Democrats to extend the tax credits. And Johnson is in a pickle. Why doesn't he want to vote on this? Because there are probably half of his caucus that don't want to vote on anything for health care, but there's another 50 to 80 members of his caucus that see the handwriting on the wall and want to vote for extending the credits. So he'd rather not have a vote, and that's why he's had his partisan strategy of sending us a bill and going home, but it ain't working. It ain't working. It's past time for us to work together, okay? It's past time to get it done. And Johnson instead is deceiving, ducking, and denying the reality. It's past time, though, for him, Thune, Trump, to stop the political gains, work with Americans to protect health care, and end the Trump Republican shutdown. Senator Murray.
Well, less than 2 weeks ago, Leader Thune said that Democrats' insistence on addressing the Republican health care crisis was, and I quote, completely unhinged and unreasonable and unserious. Somehow, according to Republicans, saving Americans from paying thousands of dollars more for health care is, quote, unreasonable. Well, clearly, Republicans are feeling the heat from folks back home because in just the last 24 hours, we have seen the Speaker go out and say Republicans are the ones concerned about health care after they just cut more than $1 trillion from health care in their big, ugly bill. And we saw the President, in a major break from his congressional leadership, tell reporters he was ready to cut a deal. I know Republicans would rather not talk about health care, but Democrats are forcing them to talk about health care. Because when Republicans insist they will talk about health care later, they know perfectly well that will be too late. Premium increases are getting locked in right now. Letters are going out in the mail to families this month. Open enrollment actually begins in Idaho next week. Americans cannot wait. They need us to act, to end this shutdown and to address the health care crisis before those higher prices are locked in. But House Republicans are missing in action for the third week in a row. You want to know who's serious about solving problems? You want to know who's serious about ending this shutdown? It's the people who are actually here. And House Republicans, they're just not here. If House Republicans were here, I would make sure they understood half of
Democrats outside the Senate chambers in Washington on Capitol Hill stating their point of view on this 7th day of the federal government shutdown. We have heard from both Democrats and Republicans and their positions as they talk past each other, hurling insults at each other. So that is progress as it exists at this particular point in time. Meantime, it's about 750,000 federal workers have been furloughed, along with several programs that are in danger of progressing as they are designed to do. We will continue to monitor it, and we will be back after this.
Fox 26 is YouTube page. Like and subscribe today.
Welcome back to Houston Live and Local. Houston City Council is taking care of business in session. I want to take you live inside council chambers in downtown right now.
And the broader network of behavioral health and substance abuse providers working on the front lines of this crisis. Every Houstonian has a role to play, whether by sharing accurate information, reducing stigma, supporting recovery, or advocating for prevention, treatment, and recovery services. The City of Houston remains committed to fostering a safe, healthy, and resilient community and urges all residents to learn more about the dangers of substance abuse
motion that the fiscal year proposed salary, as reflected in the fiscal year 26 proposed law enforcement pay scale for any classification, is inclusive of longevity pay authorized by local government code 152 up to and including 25 years of service. This is just the belts and suspenders item, Commissioner. We are required by law to pay longevity pay. When we came together, we made a concerted effort to simplify our pay scale to make it easier.
It sounds like we are hearing several audio streams at once, unable to tell what exactly is going on there. That's Houston Mayor John Whitmire, and again, not sure what the business of the moment is, but if we can get that settled, we will bring it back to you and share it with you. Meantime, we'll be right back.
Fox 26 is Like and subscribe today.
I'm told we have the audio issues resolved at Houston City Council chambers. Let's listen in.
Councilmember Davis for a proclamation to Southwest Management District to celebrate their 25th anniversary.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and to our colleagues and the mayor. We are indeed honored. This was actually the first management group that I had a chance to meet when I got on council, and it was such a tremendous opportunity to meet such great people, and so I'm indeed honored to make this presentation today to the Southwest Management District of Houston. Since its establishment in 2000, the Southwest Management District has been a vital force for economic development, public safety, infrastructure improvement, and cultural unity, helping transform Southwest Houston into a thriving hub of international commerce and multicultural collaboration. Spanning approximately 15 square miles, the district is home to residents and business owners representing more than 40 nations, and it features hundreds of international restaurants, retail shops, and professional services that contribute to the area's economic vitality and cultural vibrance. Over the past 25 years, the Southwest Management District has enhanced quality of life through crime prevention, graffiti abatement, beautification, mobility improvement, and infrastructure investment, creating safer neighborhoods, cleaner streets, and a more welcoming environment for families and entrepreneurs. A strong advocate for small businesses, the district regularly hosts workshops, network events, and resource fairs that empower entrepreneurs, foster economic resilience, and build a stronger, more inclusive local economy. The Southwest Management District stands as a model of how thoughtful planning, community engagement, and also cultural celebration can drive lasting success. The City of Houston proudly congratulates Southwest Management District on its 25th anniversary and thanks the organization for its dedicated service, growth, and community impact in one of Houston's most diverse and dynamic regions, as well as for its role in shaping a brighter future for the Southwest Houston. Praise God.
Very good. Thank you, Councilman Davis, and thank you to the leadership that is present today. You mentioned infrastructure, you mentioned so many services, but it starts really with information. Think about this diverse community, that there's language challenges, skills, that they know that they can reach out to you, and you have an outreach program that's superb. So thank you. It's a special management district, special community. I always encourage my friends, if you want to see the cultural assets and privileges of this community, go to the Southwest area, Southwest Houston. So therefore, I, John Whitmire, Mayor of the City of Houston, hereby proclaim October 7th, 2025 as Southwest District Day in the City of Houston. Thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.
Sure, thank you.
Houston Mayor John Whitmire issuing some proclamations at Houston City Council this afternoon, taking care of the city's business. That's going to wrap it up for this hour. Houston Live and Local continues at 2 with Rashi Vats. Stick around.
Fox 26 is your
Welcome to Houston Live and Local. We appreciate you spending your time with us. We want to tell you about a lot of things happening, including a lockdown at a school. We will get to that in just a moment. But first, we do want to make note of what's happening with the weather, because they do understand that there have been some showers. We did experience some yesterday, some possibly today. So what does the rest of the week look like? We have meteorologist Ramisha Shade in to tell us everything weather.
Yes, we have very quiet weather out there. Things have not been super crazy, super busy. We do have an area of showers and storms in the southern Gulf. Of course, we've been closely monitoring our satellite radar to see if there's anything concerning, looking at different models, but it looks like it will stay in the southern Gulf, thank goodness, and it's moving west, not moving to the north closer to us. But locally, like you said, we have had a few showers. They kind of look like popcorn showers. They're very tiny, they're short-lived, and they're kind of popping up to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west of Houston, but nothing right over Houston at this point. So you can see down south of Lake Jackson over towards Chambers County, getting close to Anahuac. We've got a few little showers there, and there are some additional showers west of Columbus, kind of out of our area, but this is going to be the trend. There will be about a 20% chance for a few more of these popping up as we go through the rest of the afternoon. So overall, we're looking pretty good out there. We could actually use that rain. Drought conditions have been getting worse. It's still pretty steamy out there, so we certainly need the rainfall. And a few of you will get it. We're not going to have a lot, but at least it will provide you some temporary heat relief. Well, we could use that heat relief because we are rolling on through October, today, October 7th, and we're still stuck in the 90s. In fact, we've got an actual temperature of 90, feels like temp of 95 degrees. So you would think at this point of the year, it is officially fall, we'd start to get some relief from those hot temps, from those high dew points, all of that thick, steamy air out there, but it's just not the case. Actual temperatures right now are into the 90s for many spots farther inland, including Angleton, 91, Sugar Land, middle 90s, Katy, 93, Tomball, 90, and we've got Bush Airport, 92 degrees. So not too many folks escaping this intense heat. However, if you do get under one of those downpours, it will cool you off temporarily, but it's just not going to do a ton to help you out. I want to show the heat index values because this is what it's actually going to feel like to your body as you spend time outside. If you're trying to run, if you're trying to work in the yard, maybe you're a construction worker, this is brutal. It still feels like it's close to 100 for many spots, including Sugar Land, Katy, LaPorte, Bay City, Conroe. Houston feels like temps in the middle 90s. So there's not much rain relief. We don't have much in the way of wind. Wind is light and variable. So if you have to work out there, please be careful. The heat is still dangerous. It may be officially fall, but that summer heat is hanging on. Our other issue today, air quality continues to be on the slightly unhealthy side. We're not talking about anything from the smoke plume last night, but of course we are talking about ozone levels. So we do have slightly higher ozone levels potentially for this afternoon, and those air quality index values could kind of go above 100 for a little bit this afternoon. So if you do have asthma, other respiratory issues, keep that in mind. You don't have to cancel your plans, but just try not to overdo it if you have to spend some time outside. Across the region, you can see a front to our north. We've got some showers brewing out there, a few here, but most of them staying out of our area. And we do have some cooler temps up north. In fact, OKC 75 right now, Nashville 74. But if you were thinking, will that chilly air head this way? The answer is no, not for now. So we're going to have to keep waiting. We do have a lot of dry air, though, that we've been dealing with. Really not much rain for the last month or two, and that has led to some drought conditions increasing. In recent days, we have started to see higher humidity levels and a few showers, but overall, we haven't really put much of a dent in this drought situation. So we are going to get an update to this drought monitor in a couple of days, Thursday morning, and we're likely going to see drought conditions get worse. Right now, we've got moderate drought west of Houston over towards Brenham, College Station, Wharton, those areas, and that will likely spread to the east as we go through the next few days. So bottom line, just be careful out there in the heat. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. If you have to cut the grass, don't just stay out there for hours at a time. Make sure to take a break, go inside, enjoy a little AC, drink plenty of water, then go back out. Temps are still going to be near 90 by 6 o'clock, and we'll gradually dip back into the low 80s by 9, 10 o'clock. All right, for your afternoon today, we're talking about isolated rain, temps in the low 90s, 91, 92 degrees for the next few afternoons, and like I said, maybe a cooling rain shower, but there's just not much rain to go around. So overall, as we check out our 6 to 10 day outlook, there's just not much of a pattern change. It would be nice to see something changing, but it looks like the models are showing that we're going to likely stay much above normal with the temps. And as far as the precip, it would be nice to see some green showing up over H-Town. That would mean above normal precip, but we are below normal, so we just can't seem to get a break. We do need some rain. One thing that would bring us some rain would be something from the tropics. And we are monitoring a tropical wave in the Southern Gulf. At least it's heading that way. Right now, it's still over the western part of the Yucatan Peninsula. Very low chance that this thing develops over the next day or so before it makes landfall in southern Mexico. Just like last night, still a teeny tiny, very low 10% chance for a brief tropical depression in the Southern Gulf. But anytime we're talking about a tropical system in the Gulf, of course, it's concerning. You may get a little anxious, but Fox weather model will show you that it's not coming anywhere near us. Even by Wednesday evening, Wednesday night, it's rolling into southern Mexico. There's going to be a heavy rain, gusty wind, flood threat there. But notice even the outer rain bands aren't really reaching the Houston area. So I think we're looking good. I think we will miss out on that. In case you've heard, we do have a new tropical storm, Rashi, in the Atlantic, Jerry. It is way out there, and just about all of the models that count at least are curving it to the northwest and then to the north, maybe towards Bermuda in several days, but it's not coming anywhere here. So we have been so fortunate this hurricane season. Remember last year we were hit early on, I believe July 8th, by Hurricane Beryl. So many folks spent a long time cleaning up. There may still be some people that haven't fully recovered from that, but so far this season has been quiet, thank goodness, and let's try to keep this train going through the end of November.
I know, hopefully. All right. Thank you, Ramisha. Now, we do want to tell you about some breaking news that we're following for you. We do have a crew en route. Pretty scary situation here because it does involve an elementary school. There is a lockdown at the elementary school. We're talking about Sam Houston Elementary, and this is because of a deadly stabbing, according to police, that didn't happen in the school. It happened nearby. Now, a search for the suspect is underway right now because of, again, a deadly stabbing that happened nearby the school. We do have crews on the way, and we'll bring you live reports coming up as soon as we have them available for you. Now to a story happening where there's an alleged kidnapping with a man who has been charged for it. Also, this is so weird, injecting some sort of a substance into this Aldine ISD student. The suspect was in court today, and our Leslie Delaspore has the latest.
Hey everyone, Fox 26 News reporter Leslie Delaspore here, and earlier this morning, the man who allegedly attempted to kidnap an Aldine ISD high school student made his appearance in court this morning. In case you missed it, here's some background. His name is Ted Fleming. He's 45 years old, and he is being charged with third-degree felony kidnapping. Now, court records also suggest that he injected the teen with some sort of substance that allegedly left the teen unconscious. We spoke with the prosecutor this morning about what happened in court. Here's what she said.
Yeah, so this is the first appearance for the defendant. Today, all we did was we discussed his bond. It's already been set by the magistrate, so the court just reviewed it, made sure that she thought that the bond set was appropriate, and reviewed his bond conditions. I asked for one addition to the bond conditions, but that's all that happened this morning. The magistrate just said that he was not allowed to go to the specific school that Mr. Fleming is alleged to have gone near. I asked that he not be allowed to go near any schools. What I'm able to say right now is what we filed, and that is that a assistant principal at the school reported that a student was being pulled away from the school and looked intoxicated. Officers were able to locate the individual that was pulling him away, as well as the student. The student ultimately had to be resuscitated by that officer and was taken to the hospital. I'm not able to say a whole lot more because everything is still under investigation. Ultimately, the student's going to be okay. So we're going to continue to investigate, try to learn what exactly was done to that student, and talk to onlookers and see what they might have seen.
All right, hard to believe, but it has been 2 years now since those deadly attacks on October 7th at the Nova Music Festival happening over in Israel. Now, it sparked a deadly war in Gaza that we've been talking about almost daily here on our broadcast. It's sparked negotiations from the U.S., Israel, and Hamas. Those are actually happening right now in Egypt, working towards some type of a peace deal. President Trump wrote on social media the first phase of an agreement should be done this week. Israel previously said it supported the Trump administration's 20-point peace plan. Hamas later agreed to some terms of that deal. Roughly 1,200 Israelis and more than 67,000 Palestinians have been killed since the start of that war. Now, President Trump sat with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney talking about tariffs and also some trade deals.
This summer, are you willing today to offer some compromise to Canada, maybe on steel, on aluminum?
Well, we've made compromise, and we've made some compromise even on steel. But, you know, we have the same basic authority and the same basic, this could be also a little bit of a conflict with other countries all over the world on steel, because we want to make our own steel. We don't want to bring steel in for the most part, but we will bring it in, and we do bring it in. We continue to bring it in from Canada, but there is a tariff to pay. And I think that would be a normal thing to say. But we've come a long way. I think, Howard, we can truly say. Do you want to make a comment on that?
Well, I think the opportunity to work together. But as you said, there's conflict. You know, why do we make cars in Canada? You've called that out, and you've addressed that. So there are places we should work together, and there are places that we have natural conflict.
It's a tough situation because we want to make our cars here. At the same time, we want Canada to do well making cars. So we're working on formulas, and I think we'll get there.
Canadians are refusing to go to the U.S. The numbers are down like 23% in the first 7 months of the year. What do you say to Canadians that don't want to go to the U.S. now because of your 51st state talk, because of the trade war, the tariffs?
Yeah. Well, I understand that. Look, I understand that, and Americans don't want to buy cars that are made in Canada. You know, I mean, we have the same conflict. So there isn't. It's something that will get worked out. There's still great love between the two countries, but you know, American people want product here. They want to make it here. Detroit was emptied out and moved to Canada, moved to Mexico, moved to other places, not just Canada, and. Now they're all moving back, you know, they're moving back. We have, right now, I was just telling Mark, we have 17 trillion, but it's really much higher. That was as of a couple of months ago. Yeah. We have over $17 trillion being invested now in the United States. As an example, Biden, he was the worst president we've ever had, but they had less than 1 trillion in 4 years. We have more than 17 trillion in 8 months. 8 months. And I think that number is going to be $21, $22 trillion. There's never been anything like that in the history of the world for any country, not even close. You know, if you did 1 trillion in a year, that's pretty good. We're going to do over 20. And it's coming in with AI. It's coming in with auto plants. You know, we're building auto plants, a lot of auto plants in the U.S. It's coming in for a lot of reasons. It's coming in because of the fact, I think the November 5th election was a big factor, and I think the tariffs are a big factor. And again, we want Canada to do great, but you know, there's a point at which we also want the same business. We're competing for the same business. That's the problem. That's why I keep mentioning one way to solve that problem is a very easy way, but we're competing for the same business. He wants to make cars, we want to make cars, and we're in competition. And the advantage we have is we have this massive market. So it's it's quite an advantage.
All right. Well, overnight, members of the National Guard head over to Illinois. President Trump says that they are needed to protect the city of Chicago, but the governor there is fighting back. Fox's Rebecca Castor has more.
Get back! Get back! After days of clashes between federal agents and anti-ICE protesters in Chicago, the White House is stepping in and federalizing some of the state's National Guard troops. Texas also answering the call to help, with Governor Greg Abbott sending soldiers despite objections from Illinois' governor.
Governor Abbott should stay the hell out of Illinois' business.
Donald Trump is using our service members as political props and as pawns in his illegal effort to militarize our nation's cities.
Illinois is suing to stop the deployment of troops, and they're hoping for a similar ruling to one in Oregon, where a federal judge recently shot down President Trump's plans to send National Guard troops to Portland.
With all due respect to that judge, I think her opinion is untethered in reality and in the law. For more than 100 days, night after night after night, the ICE facility has been really under siege.
The White House is appealing that decision, and the president isn't ruling out invoking the Insurrection Act, which allows him to mobilize the military to conduct civilian law enforcement activities under certain circumstances.
We have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up.
Despite both of these states fighting in court, the White House thinks they'll ultimately win, just like they did in California after deploying troops to LA earlier this year. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
All right, we'll be right back after this quick break. All right, it is Tuesday, and it's time to bring in a brand new superintendent to Houston Live and Local. This superintendent is very special because he has been on the job for a very short amount of time, but you have a lengthy education background here, but you're with Conroe ISD. We're so glad that you are here. Whoa, I just messed up that. Dr. David Vinson from Conroe ISD. So you came from Dallas. So now, is Dallas better or is Houston better? I ask the tough questions.
Well, I mean, obviously Houston. I mean, right here.
That's the right answer. I know that's the right answer.
That is what I'm talking about.
So what kind of drew you to Conroe ISD?
The people. You know, I was in my previous school district 14 years.
Wow.
The average is about 3. Loved the place. Sold our house. Was planning to kind of live there for the rest of days. And got a phone call from Conroe and the school board there, and you know, I always kind of believe in shared values in a place where you want to live and you know, just kind of thrive.
Yes.
And when I got to Conroe and I talked to their people, it was just magic.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't that great?
Yes. And so what do you plan on doing differently with Conroe ISD?
I grew up in West Texas, up in the Panhandle, and a wise rancher said, never move a fence till you know what it's for. So the first thing I always do is really make sure that I listen and I learn, and I want to make sure that I kind of promote the values that are really important for someone who's going to graduate from Conroe that would be glad to call her own. And so that idea or concept that we're going to do is just hopefully kind of grow kids in a way that would be happy and healthy and get them ready for the real world. And there's so many great things going on in Conroe. My goal right now is to find out the best parts and just try to find a way to make them a little bit better.
And what's the best part that you see right now in Conroe, other than the people?
Well, the thing is the sense of community of communities. So Conroe represents a great number of communities, from the Woodlands to Cut and Shoot to Caney Creek to Conroe itself. And the great part about it is everyone's kind of coming together to do one common vision, which is to grow great kids. And if I was going to say that, it would be the idea of camaraderie and common focus and vision. Because when you have that common focus, vision, and values, everything else kind of comes along the way.
Yes. And when you have a great school, and I've heard people that are from Conroe that just say, we just love the school district. We just love the school. And I'm sure you hear that a lot too.
A lot.
And when you, I have to also make note of the fact that Conroe ISD just named the best school district in Montgomery County for the 5th year in a row. That's got to make you very proud and just feel good about being a part of it.
Well, I wouldn't have come to some place that I wasn't going to be proud of who they are and what they do. It's nice when you can build on foundations of greatness, and finding out what's right and building on that is just incredibly important. And I'm here to live, and I'm here to learn, and I'm here to, you always want to leave your mark wherever it is, but you want to make sure it's the same mark that someone would be proud to call their own when it's my time to turn over the reins to someone else.
Definitely. And so there have been some challenges when it comes to either STAR testing or some legislation, and
Right.
like cell phones is one of the big things too. How have you seen that when it comes to the students' response and the parents' response?
I found some success in student performance. My previous district, I have never received anything less than a B. Last year, the school district that I was superintendent was the only school district above 10,000 students that received an A, all campuses and the district. But at the end of the day, when you think about it, I like challenges, and I like the idea that Conroe wants better for their kids. And you can feel it, you can see it, and I believe it's going to be the next push for us to kind of come together and make that happen. And you know what? I'm just going to tell you this. The cell phone thing, I thought there is going to be riots. My kids, myself, I love the phone.
I know it's hard.
It's hard for me right now to watch it, look at it right now. The kids have done great. The kids have done amazing, and they have been so mindful about it, and you see them talking at lunch, you see them growing. It's something I wouldn't have thought, but I'm glad it happened.
And that's something that I always see, and I think, gosh, I wish the cell phones just weren't there, because you see kids on their cell phones, like even on college campuses or whatever, because that didn't happen when we were in school, because we actually talked to people, and I think that has been taken away for a lot of children and even older kids, like college students. So it's a good thing in terms of that.
It is, and one of the things, if we could teach our kids, among a lot of other things, but relationship skills, from the ability to be self-aware and socially aware of how they interact with people, not on their phones, but looking people in the eye, having legitimate conversations, listening. It's a skill that is, not equipped right now with this digital world, and I think it's going to be essential. It's going to be foundational for our success, and so maybe it'll start at the school.
So are you a Texans fan yet, or?
The deal is, I have not in my 13 days here, I have not been offered one Texan shirt.
What?
I haven't been offered
What are
one
we doing?
Astros shirt. What's up?
Conroe ISD, what are we doing?
No, the deal is, I'm not a giant Cowboys fan nor Rangers. I'm willing to be adopted by this great community we call Houston.
Well, we'll make that happen. We'll get the Texans, the Rockets.
Yeah.
Are you a Mavericks fan?
No.
Okay, we're fine. It's going to be great.
No, I never. I'm not going to start there. We're not going to go.
We're here to talk about school. Yes, yeah.
I love
Awesome.
everybody.
I know. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come here, and we hope to see you again.
It's great to be here.
Yes. All right, thank you. All right, now we're going to go over to Houston City Council because the meeting just began a little while ago, so let's listen in.
And your leadership, Dr. Frias, and all others who are seated amongst us. I had the privilege and pleasure to travel to the Philippines with Dr. Frias and Laloy, which I see you in the back, with the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce last year. And it was such a rewarding trip. And the Filipino American community here in Houston has a rich history. And we have benefited much from your culture. And so I just want to say thank you very much for your contributions, everything that you all have lended to our city. We look forward to celebrating this month with you all and months ahead. God bless you.
Thank you very much. And we look forward to more collaborations. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anthony Guevara. I'm a native Houstonian, born and raised in Houston. I'm also a member of Councilman Martha K6 Tatum's district as well. I'm a member of Sanayal and also serve as a region president for the National Federation of Filipino American Association. A member of the Chamber, a founding member of FONS, and one of the proud Filipinos here in the city of Houston of over 80,000. Parents moved here because of the Immigration Act in the late 60s as well, and which brought a lot of nurses, pioneers, and engineers to our city. We've done a lot for Filipino Americans here, especially here in the city of Houston, our contributions. We seek representation, acknowledgement of October as Filipino American History Month from all of you guys in the rest of the city of Houston. And also, we Filipino Americans help put diversity in the most diverse city here in the United States. And we thank everybody for your service and like to actually invite all of you guys to a celebration that we're doing this Sunday, October 12th at the Post, right? So thank you again and happy Filipino American History Month.
Mark, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Castix Tatum.
Thank you for saying that you're a member of District K. We are very excited to have the Philippine Community Center in the district. We've done some community work there with the Houston Arts Alliance. We've held some community events there, and we want to continue to do that in the community. So we look forward to working alongside the Filipino community and continuing our relationship together. So congratulations to each of you, and I wish you the very best on your celebration this weekend.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Councilor Pollard.
Thank you, Mayor. And I too want to acknowledge whoever provided this book to us. Okay.
American National Historical Society.
Thank you very much. We've been thumbing through it, and I look forward to reading it. We all look forward to reading it, so we want to say thank you for the book.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jairon Salazar. To be followed by Aileen Dizon.
Good afternoon. I'm Jairon Salazar Agdarap, and I'm a nurse practitioner and a member of the Philippine Nurses Association in North Houston. My husband and I are both registered nurses when we came here in America, and together we own and operate a hospice and home health company, a caregiving company, and a personal care home, which our mission is to provide quality care and improving healthcare access, especially to our elderly who are homebound and remote, and who remain amongst the most vulnerable population in our community. The Immigration Act of 1965 opened doors for skilled professionals, and Filipino nurses answered that call, transforming challenges into opportunities and communities into families. The Philippine Nurses Association of North Houston is a nonprofit founded in 2011 with hundreds of members. Our association unites Filipino American nurses, provides community service, and support the growth and adjustment of Filipino nurses while upholding our rich cultural heritage. We host scholarship awards, fundraisers for professional development, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Next.
Aileen Dizon. To be followed by Riga Mauricio.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Aileen Dizon. I am the managing partner at Dizon Law Firm. based here in Houston. I proudly represent the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Texas, or PACC Texas for short, as the current state president. I appeared before you last year, if you remember, same month. Well, PACC Texas is the largest Filipino American chamber in the state with nearly 1,000 members. This year, we are celebrating our 17th anniversary, having been founded in 2008 when PACC North Texas and PACC Texas Houston united into a single state chamber with two regional chapters.
All right, now we want to take you live over to the scene that we've been following for you since this afternoon, where we do understand there is a possible lockdown of an elementary school happening right now. We do know it is Sam Houston Elementary, which is in Galena Park ISD. And we do believe, according to officers, that there was some sort of a deadly stabbing that did not happen at the school. It happened nearby that school. And we do understand, according to authorities, the latest report that we have received is that they were looking for a suspect. So we are waiting to hear from investigators and hear more information when it comes to who it is and if the school is back open again. Again, Sam Houston Elementary. We know that's in Galena Park ISD, and since it is about 3:30 almost, or 3 o'clock, or 2:30, excuse me. We do know that school is in session right now, but unconfirmed reports of Sam Houston Elementary being in lockdown. And we do know that this is in Galena Park ISD, and we are waiting to hear from investigators about who is responsible, what happened for this to actually occur. We do believe that it was some sort of a deadly stabbing. We don't know who it involves, but right now you can see investigators at the scene, and it looks like they're canvassing that one area. We're taking a live look courtesy of Skyfox, and they're showing us live video of police officers definitely present around Sam Houston Elementary. We have unconfirmed reports that it is under lockdown, but we do know there was some sort of a deadly stabbing that happened. It looks like you could possibly see some sort of splatter on the roadway there, which is what it seems like those investigators are looking at, but we are closely monitoring this situation, and we'll be bringing the latest to you as that becomes available. And it just looks like we are seeing those investigators there block off some roadways. So we have a crew en route, and we'll give you a live report when that becomes available. We'll be right back. All right, well, Commissioner Rodney Ellis was on hand at the campus of Texas Southern University earlier today for an unveiling of 2 street art murals. So let's take a look back at that.
Project is part of a community benefits agreement between my office and Texas Southern University. It's an investment in beautification, history, and public art that strengthens our community. You will notice the change in the streets on the exterior of Texas Southern. Your county dollars invested almost $25 million in landscaping and the streets and the sidewalks around Texas Southern University. And if you just go back 4 years ago and remember what it was like on your car when you went down Cleburne, it has been a vast improvement. I think I read in the paper where Mayor Turner at the time was doing a community benefits agreement with Rice University for some benefits that they wanted, some funding they wanted from the city. And so I thought about it, and the then acting president of Texas Southern University asked if we would go above the initial $15 million we committed to the University of Houston for streets with county money, although it was not a county responsibility, and $15 million for TSU. They wanted another 10. And so that's when I figured we'd do a community benefits agreement. And that's where this funding came from that agreement that we signed and approved at Commissioner's Court, and the Board of Regents here approved it in June of 2022, I believe. Today, we celebrate 2 kinds of courage that change Harris County and the state of Texas. The vision of Dr. John Biggers and the resolve of Texas Southern University students who sat down at a lunch counter a mile from here so that all of us could stand a lot taller. Those students were Deanna Lott, Guy Boudoir, John Hutchins, Jesse Parvis, Curtis Graves, Holly and Pete Hogebrooks, Clarence Coleman, Eddie Rigsby, Pat Patterson, Doris Brown, and Eldrewy Stearns, who emerged as the leader of that group. Biggers painted the dignity of African Americans on walls. Those students enshrine our dignity into law. Biggers taught us how to envision freedom. The students that I mentioned earlier showed us how to practice it. We unveiled 2 works today, Jubilee by Dr. Biggers and The Quilting Party by Dr. Biggers. Jubilee lifts up the rhythms of life and culture. Freedom songs, freedom sound made visible. The Quilting Party honors traditions and the strength passed down through families and neighborhoods. Individual pieces stitched into a common future. In the sit-in, if the sit-in was the stitching of a new social fabric, Biggers gave us the pattern, every square and every part of the story that was essential to have it all sewn together. Both works return us here to Texas Southern University, where Dr. John Biggers built the foundation of the art program at this university. He taught that art is history, art is identity and truth, and the TSU students carried those same lessons into the streets. What Dr. Biggers painted, they performed. What he rendered in color and form, they rendered in courageous protests. I have a personal connection to Texas Southern University. I'm a proud alum of the class of 1975. And Earl Hutton was joking about it earlier, but yes, I did have a football scholarship, but I did not have to go on the field, other than to tutor athletes so that they could keep the GPA that Coach and Dr. Rod Page wanted them to have in order to compete on the field. I know the power of this campus, and I know its legacy. That's why my office was committed to preserving and uplifting this legacy, bringing art that celebrates our history into public spaces so that the people of Harris County and people who come in to visit can encounter it every day and see what generations before us have seen: beauty, history, truth, identity, and a vision of a community where all of us belong.
All right, let's talk about the Texans and the win that happened on Sunday. Well, we had actually General Manager of the Texans, Nick Caserio, speaking to Fox 26 about the team's status heading into bye week.
On Jimmy Ward and other guys are on reserve lists like Dino Autry and Jalen Reed.
Yeah, Reed and Autry started practicing here last week, so
I would say they're probably closer to playing than some others. J-Rock, probably, after another week or two, probably be available here at some point to practice. Jimmy's making progress, probably a little bit further out here, but he's been in the building working. And I think right now there's a little bit of gray just relative to Watson and Stover. At some point we'll see those players, probably not as definitive as it is with some of the other folks, Kurt as well. So, we have some depth kind of off the roster in some different categories. So, at some point when those players are available, the expectation is they're going to be ready to go here at some point, be able to help the team.
It was a little bit of a gamble to go with some of the cheaper options on the O-line. Now, I know y'all tried to trade up to get some of the top guys, but why did you decide to go in that direction as opposed to investing in some of the higher-priced guys in free agency, O-linemen in particular?
Well, in terms of what?
So, obviously there are guys who are considered top tier, who are the more expensive options. You all went after guys like Ed Ingham, who are playing well, Lakin Thompson, who are playing well, but they're a little bit more cheaper options, didn't have sustained success last year. Why did you decide to go after those players as opposed to the guys who are considered the top tier players?
Yeah, I think we have to be careful about making assumptions that there were players that we didn't have interest in. So, look, I'm on the phone, during the course of March, we talked to everybody. So I would say we were interested in a lot more players than maybe the picture's been painted. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So if you don't acquire a player, then you pivot to the next option. So, I wouldn't say there's anything different in our approach. So again, I'm not sure who those players are, who we're exactly talking about, what the perception is of who's a top tier player. So, I think kind of beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So again, we've been interested in a lot of players. We've made attempts to acquire a number of players. Sometimes it works the way that you think it's going to work, and then you got to evaluate the market and figure out what makes the most sense. So, that's the approach that we've taken since we've been here. It hasn't changed, and I think I'd be careful about just making an assumption of what our level of interest was or was not in certain players.
In a sense, are you confident that those guys can continue to ascend where they are, the current guys?
Yeah, they've improved. So, Titus has played really good football. We haven't really talked about Titus, but, he's probably played as good at football as he has at any point in his career. So, a lot of credit to him and respect. He's literally played all four positions other than center, and he's done a lot for the team. So, Ed's improving. Jake's done a good job. Jake's been out of football, for a couple years, so he kind of taken advantage of his opportunity. We talked about Tay a little bit earlier. So, we drafted Tay in the second round for a reason. Thought he was a good player. Put him out there at left tackle. And he's played some good football. So, and if we got to make an adjustment, I'm sure we're going to lose a player here at some point, and there's probably going to be somebody that we're not talking about that is going to end up playing at some point, like we've had at different points over the last few years. Derek Barnett, players like that who have kind of popped up later in the season. So we'll take it one day at a time. We'll evaluate it and try to figure out what makes the most sense for our team and, try to make good decisions as we go.
All right, well, Pearland High School's marching band got this really cool surprise earlier today. They're going to perform in next year's Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That is a huge deal. Listen to what the band's director had to say about this accomplishment.
Able to announce to our kids that we've been fortunate to be selected for the 2026 Macy's Thanksgiving Centennial Celebration, the 100th Parade. So we are really excited about our opportunity to be able to share this with our community and share this with our school district and just get this tremendous once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for our kids to be able to perform on a national stage like that. The Macy's Parade is viewed by about 31 million people every year, and so just to be able to have our community representing, and we're representing the whole state of Texas on there. There are 10 bands that were selected as an opportunity to get to be a part of this centennial celebration, and we were absolutely fortunate to be one of those to represent our entire area. So we were really thrilled with this opportunity and thrilled for what that means for our students and our community.
How long does the process take? When did you apply to?
Yeah, we applied actually in January of 2024. It was kind of a collective application for the 25 and 26 years, and it was cool. In our meeting when they called, they said with the grandeur and the size of our program and just the competitive success with a program this big and what it all presents, they said it was just obviously special from the get-go, and they knew that was something they wanted to save specifically for the 100th anniversary parade. And so that's a tremendous honor for us to be selected in that regard.
That is so cool. We're going to have to all watch that and cheer them on. All right, we'll be right back. All right, I do want to give you an update on some breaking news that we've been following for you. A deadly stabbing led to the possible shutdown of a school. We have unconfirmed reports of a shutdown for Sam Houston Elementary, which is in Galena Park ISD. Here's what we do know, that 2 people, according to investigators, are confirmed dead because of this deadly stabbing. Now, we have live video right now where it is hard for us to get close to the scene, obviously, because police are investigating and you can see the crime scene tape there. But we do know that nearby that school, which is a scary situation, there was some sort of a stabbing and 2 people are confirmed dead. So we are waiting for police to talk to the media to give us some details. And we know that this is something that we've been reporting on since a little bit earlier this afternoon. And you can see investigators on the scene there. Earlier, we were there with Sky Fox, and you could see investigators trying to locate some of the evidence, I guess, in this deadly stabbing. Now, we do understand that the suspect has not been taken into custody. I'm not sure if he has been found yet. Now, it does look like an active scene here. And the scary situation for so many parents is the fact that this elementary school possibly was on lockdown. And we do know, as it is 2:49 p.m., that school is either going to be let out pretty soon or kids are still in school at this time. So it's going to be something that we're going to be closely monitoring. And if you take a look on your top left side there, you could see someone taking pictures. So again, that is the scene, the location, and we are closely monitoring it as investigators are there on the scene, canvassing the area. Again, a deadly stabbing, 2 people confirmed dead, and we do know unconfirmed reports that the school, Sam Houston State Elementary, was on lockdown. We will give you more information as soon as it becomes available on fox26houston.com. Also here on Fox Local, which you can download on your smart TV and also your phone. Now, I believe we are going to go live to a Senate hearing that is taking place right now. Let's listen in.
We aren't on the verge of an authoritarian takeover. We are in the middle of it. Now, it's not a fait accompli. It is not certain to be successful. But if we aren't clear-eyed about what is happening, then we have no chance to arrest it. If my Republican colleagues don't force themselves to pull back and see the totality of what is happening to the political opposition, it's hard to see because it's not happening to you. It's happening to your colleagues. You're not in jeopardy of being arrested. My colleagues are. Your allies are not being taken down off the air. Ours are. If we don't all pull back and see this for what it is, we will wake up and there will be a day where our democracy is gone. And so I want to talk to my colleagues today about the totality of this plan. And it really happens in 5 steps. The first step is to convert the justice system into a political witch hunt operation. Every totalitarian relies on the justice system to punish dissent, but also to immunize illegality for loyalists. That's the deal you get in a totalitarian state. If you speak out against the government, well, then the legal system comes crashing down on you. But if you are loyal to the government, then you can get away with crimes. We are seeing this at scale right now. The indictment of James Comey for no crime. Not a single prosecutor in that office in Virginia would sign the indictment, not a single one, until President Trump sent his personal lawyer to take over that office, because only she would sign the indictment. We see this in the arrests that are being readied for at least one Democratic senator, for the Soros family, for the Attorney General of New York, for behavior that is not criminal, for behavior that apparently, reportedly, has been engaged in by plenty of other people. But you also see it in the way that it ultimately plays out in a very quiet way. The goal here is not to arrest everybody that opposes Donald Trump. The idea here is to just put enough fear into the ranks of those who might speak truth to power that they stay quiet. And it's undoubtedly happening. There are undoubtedly people in this country who see what is being threatened to Senator Schiff, what has happened to James Comey, and they have just decided to remain silent. This is a tried and true tactic of a totalitarian state, is that they threaten people with arrest if they speak up, and lots of people just decide not to speak up in the first place. But what also happens is that if you are loyal to the regime, you get away with crimes. See what happened to the mayor of New York, Eric Adams. He allegedly had committed a crime. He had committed significant corruption, but was exonerated by President Trump only after the mayor pledged his political loyalty to the president. In fact, one of the president's representatives and the mayor went on television to essentially publicly do the handshake. Loyalty from the mayor to the president, and exoneration of corruption from the government to the mayor. This is how totalitarian regimes control speech. They punish through the legal system dissent. They immunize corruption amongst those who are loyal. The second part of the plan is to eliminate free press and replace it with state-run media. Now, I don't know that I'd go so far to say that we have state-run media in the United States yet, but there is an attempt underway to try to use the vast regulatory powers of the administration to censor media. And again, the administration isn't hiding it. They are going on TV and celebrating the fact that in the latest instance, they threatened to pull the licenses of TV stations that didn't take off the air one of the president's loudest critics. But we also see it through the consolidation of media into the hands of allies of the president. One family that has just taken control of a major media group that owns, amongst other properties, CBS, is looking to also take control of CNN and may have an ownership stake and a control stake in TikTok. That family has shown a willingness to censor content, pulling Stephen Colbert off the air, and to put in place essentially Trump-approved censors for their future news content. So you get to state-run media not necessarily through the state owning and operating media, but by the state using its regulatory powers, its control of licenses and mergers, to make clear to the billionaire class that they can own media, that they can make a lot of money off of media, but only if it propagates Trump's narrative and suppresses criticism. It's happening right now. We're watching it happen. The third step in the plan is to militarize law enforcement. The deployment of the military to Chicago and to Portland to Los Angeles is illegal. It is illegal. But it is designed to try to once again quell dissent and protest. This isn't about public safety. This is about political.
All right. Thank you so much for watching Houston Live and Local. We'll have more on that breaking news that we're following for you. We do know 2 people confirmed dead in this deadly stabbing and possible reports of a school in lockdown. Please keep in touch at 3 p.m. with Anthony Antoine.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Hopefully you guys are having a great Tuesday here, October 7th. I'm Anthony Antoine. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Houston Live and Local. Of course, you know how the game goes. We're going to bring you guys up to speed on all the latest news and weather happening in the area. So let's jump right in, shall we? We're going to start with meteorologist Misha Shade. Mish, I got to say, man, another beautiful day. Walked outside this morning. I was like, whoa, what is this? Feels great.
You liked it?
I loved it.
Yeah, like we made it to that time of the year where even though it's still hot, a little too hot in the afternoon, the mornings are nice. So if you can get out there, let's say before 10 a.m., it's perfect. Temperatures in the 60s, 70s. We do have a little more humidity, but overall, you can't really complain about that.
Yeah, that's a great start. Anytime I can get outside with the dog, cup of coffee in my hand, kind of just walk around, take it in, relax. It's a good start to
get a good workout, get some steps in. 10,000 a day. That's my goal.
You hit 10,000 a day?
Not every day.
I'm about to say, me neither. Like, maybe if I'm lucky, once a week.
But the other day, I was like, I looked down at my watch. I was like, 9,980 or something. I was like, so I just walked the place. I was like, okay, I got to get my last few. But
there you go.
I mean, if I'm close, I try to get it.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, yeah, it takes a lot. Because I mean, even if I go to like a dance class or something, I mean, that's maybe 4,000, a little over 4,000 steps. So you got to do a couple of workouts and then some to get to 10,000. But every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps. I agree.
Yes. All right, let's get to your Fox Red radar, and we actually have a little action out there. A few downpours popping up. Not really anything for Houston, so it's just about the heat right now, but notice north, south, east, west of Houston, there are some spotty downpours. So let's start off closer to the coast. This is down around Danbury, Angleton. You can see the yellow and red popping up there, indicating a little burst of heavy rain. We'll have to see how long this cell can survive. These showers have been popping up fairly quickly and kind of weakening. Over into Chambers County, this is going to be west of High Island and north of Gilchrist. We've got a little burst of rain there as well. Now, let's move a little bit farther to the west-southwest, Palacios, and up towards El Campo, Hallettsville, Columbus, some showers in and around your area. LaGrange, Madisonville, Huntsville, and over into Livingston, close to Trinity on Alaska. We've got a little bit of rain developing right in your neck of the woods. So like I said, it's kind of all around Houston, but in Houston proper for the Houston Metro, not much, but the heat and the humidity. You can see some puffy cumulus clouds off in the distance. We got some decent sunshine out there as well, but we also have a lot of heat. Now, I want to remind you, for a good chunk of last week, we kind of got rid of a lot of that high humidity. The dew points had dropped to the 50s and then they reached the 60s, but now we got dew points in the 70s. So that is really a summer-like feel out there. So we got an actual air temperature of 91, but when you factor in all of that humid air out there, it feels like it's close to 100 degrees and not much wind to help us out. Wind light and variable around 5 miles per hour. So if you get under one of those downpours, you're probably going to enjoy it, unless you're trying to mow the lawn or something, because it's going to feel great. It's going to cool you off a bit, because outside of that rain, we've got temps for most spots in the 90s, 95 Sugar Land, 93 Katy, 92 for Tomball, and 92 for you in Conroe. Feels like temps, of course, can let you know what it's actually going to be like for your body to deal with this heat. So Bay City, you're stepping outside. Your actual temperature may not be in the triple digits, but that feels like temp is 102. So this is still dangerous, brutal heat, even though it's October. It doesn't matter if it's October, November, December. If it's dangerous heat, it's dangerous heat. So you still need to think about those things we tell you during the summer. Drink plenty of water, take breaks, and try not to overdo it out there. Light wind. So when we're kind of in this stagnant pattern, we've got a lot of sunshine, not much wind, not much rain. That usually equals an air quality alert ozone action day. So the ozone levels are slightly elevated for today. Anytime your air quality index goes above 100, that's in an unhealthy zone. So we may be in that orange category for a little bit this afternoon. So just keep that in mind if that ozone irritates you, if you have any type of respiratory issues. But overall, we're looking pretty good across the state. There are some spotty showers. You can see a front up towards the Dallas area. That's not going to make it down here. Overall, our weather stays pretty quiet. We've got a few downpours for today, tomorrow afternoon, and even that low chance for rain will start to go away after that. We could use this rain. We've been telling you about the drought monitor, and drought conditions have been increasing across the area. So west of Houston, over towards Columbus, And getting close to College Station, we have drought conditions that are returning, that moderate drought. So we need a little bit more rain. We're not going to get much, but at least today and tomorrow, we got a 20% chance for a few of those downpours. And those temperatures will remain about 5 to 7 degrees above the norm for the Houston area. Normally, we're in the middle 80s for this time of the year. We'll be close to the middle of October soon, so we need some relief, but it looks like we're not going to get it. Models are showing really through the middle of October, temps staying much above the norm. All right, I'm going to give you a little preview of what's coming later. Of course, I'll have a detailed update in the tropics with our update that we do during Texas Live and Local for the 4 p.m. hour. But for now, I do want to let you know that we do have our 10th named storm of the season, Tropical Storm Jerry, formed out in the Atlantic. So I have much more on where that's headed, who could be in the path, who's in danger. And also, we got a little trouble, Anthony, in the southern Gulf. Low chance for tropical development there. I know we don't want to hear that, but
No.
I'll have an update on everything happening out there later.
All right, so you guys got to stay tuned for that. Ramisha will be back later on in our 5 and 6 o'clock newscast, but also at 4 o'clock as well. How can I forget 4 o'clock? On Texas Live and Local.
That's the detailed update. You can't miss that one.
Don't miss that one. That's the one you want to see at 4 o'clock. All right, thank you, Mish. I appreciate it. Hey, I'm just getting word of some breaking news here from our folks there in the back. So let's see if we can get a visual here for you guys. We just got word that at least 2 people have been stabbed to death. Okay, I'm getting a look here with you guys. At least 2 people stabbed to death. This is in the Cloverleaf area. This is my first time getting a look at the scene here, and we're told that the 2 bodies were found near Sam Houston Elementary School. Now, if you're familiar with the Cloverleaf area, the elementary school is right off of the Sam Houston Parkway, and the school is nearby. So you can see a couple of cars there within the caution tape, and investigators are going to be beginning stages of their investigation. Again, this is the Galena Park ISD, and again, it's over at it's near Sam Houston Elementary School. So if you guys are in that area, you know somebody in that area, please, if you have some information about what's taking place inside of the elementary school, please let us know. Sometimes, when things like this happen near schools, they tend to go on lockdown, or if not a full lockdown, they go on some type of a lockdown of sorts. So Jillian Hartman is going to the scene, so we'll get to the... Okay, Jillian is there. So let's go to Jillian now. Jillian, fill us in. What's going on?
Hey, yeah, we just got to the scene a few minutes ago, and we learned from the Harris County Sheriff's Office that 2 people are dead. So take a look at the scene here behind me. You can see this area is roped off. We're in the Cloverleaf area. We're along Manor Street and Victoria Street, and deputies tell me that a man was found dead on the street here and that a woman was found dead inside a home. Now, deputies tell me they don't know the cause of death at this point, so we're working to get more information. So information is limited at this time, but I can tell you there are several deputies' cars on scene. There's a crime scene unit. So this is a very active scene. I can see a lot of detectives here. So they have this area roped off. It's a pretty residential area. So a lot of neighbors have questions as to what's going on. But what we know at this point is that 2 people are dead. A man was found dead on a street and a woman was found dead inside a home. And we're working to find out exactly what the cause of death was. So we're working to get more information. I'm going to try to talk to some officials and also try to talk to some neighbors to get their reaction and see if they heard or saw anything. So once we have any new information, we'll break back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Jillian. Following that breaking news for us there in the Cloverleaf area, 2 people found dead. All right, thank you, Jillian. All right, next up, let's go over to City Hall, see what's happening over there. Let's take a live listen in.
Been here a long time. Melby Buffs, Edison Junior High, what have you. I'm for the progress. I like the progress. I like seeing the new building. I like bringing in revenue. We're talking about funds and what have you. Let's bring in the funds. That helps. If we're looking from a safety standpoint, which I can kind of talk to, we're well adept in reaching these residents, these neighborhoods. Closures are not new. We have bike trails that we have to overcome. So start thinking about that. We're well informed. That's perfectly fine with us, okay? It does present challenges, but we start bringing in the revenue and we start bringing in people who are going to create the jobs, who are going to bring the capital in for us. we'll be able to raise more. Okay?
Your time has expired.
Thank you very much.
Next.
Jumana Malbari. Sebastian Lacourt. To be followed by Corey Dastur.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'd like to speak about the Red Line. Recently, the city removed signal priority for the Red Line as it runs through downtown, which means that the trains now stop at every red light. And so what used to be about a 12-minute trip between McGowan and UHD is about a 20-minute trip. 2 points I'd like to make. First, I know that this administration is skeptical towards mass transit projects, but the Red Line really seems like an unqualified success. 34,000 people a day ride it, and you can see why. It connects the Med Center, downtown, 2 universities, HCC, and major bus stations, and of course the parks and the museums and the stadiums. I board it at Fannin South. I come up from District K. You really see a whole slice of the city using it. Why slow down something that really works, our most effective transit line? And then second, it seems strange to me to do this when we're trying to bring people downtown. Personally, I never used to...
Your time has expired.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sir.
Councilman Pollard.
You can have my time. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so personally, I never came downtown before I lived with access to the Red Line. My first few years in Houston, I lived about a mile west of here in 4th Ward. I just never came downtown voluntarily.
All right, let's go back out to Jillian Hartman now. We just got word that they might be giving a press conference here soon, so let's listen to that.
So hot up here, and it's like October.
Yeah, can you weatherman order something different?
I'll get Travis right on it.
All right, we're just waiting for this press conference to start there. You can see all the mic flags from different news organizations here in the Houston area. You can see the 3 officers there ready to give us the details from that briefing. Again, if you're just now joining us, we have Jillian Hartman who just got to the scene moments ago. We are following a case where at least 2 people, well, let me say at least 2 people were found dead. One of them in the street there, and this is taking place not too far from Sam Houston Elementary School. So once everyone's set up here, we'll make sure to get the details from investigators. It looks like they're just about ready to go. So let's listen.
Miller, that's S-I-D-N-E-Y. Last name is Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R. To my right, I have Captain Lovett. He's the patrol captain, District 3. To my left, I have Lieutenant Alnice. He's the homicide lieutenant, Sheriff's Office. So what we know today, about 12:30 p.m., deputies with the Harris County Sheriff's Office were dispatched to it was a reported male disturbance call. A male had showed up at one of the neighbor's house. Apparently he was bleeding, covered in blood, and spoke with that neighbor and told him that he had been stabbed. When deputies arrived, the first unit on scene was actually a Precinct 3 deputy who was a school resource officer working nearby. He was the first one to arrive. He found a male victim in the street. He attempted to render aid to that male victim. Unfortunately, that male victim died. When the other deputies arrived, they found a blood trail from that first victim leading to a home nearby. They went to do a welfare check on that home, and once they got to that home, they found a female inside that home deceased from unknown wounds, unknown injuries. So right now, we know that our victim, a female victim, is approximately in her 30s. Our male victim is in his 20s. We suspect that they are related somehow. We do know that there was another individual possibly here at the time that all this happened. That individual is not here. So right now we're out canvassing the area for surveillance video. We're talking to some additional witnesses, trying to get some information, and we're also, just trying to follow up on some investigative leads that we have at this time. So we're asking anybody with information regarding this case to contact the Harris County Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit, 713-274-9100, or Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS, and that's 8477.
So the deceased male that's on the end of the street, did he make it to a neighbor's house and like knocked on the door and they came out, or he then, how did he?
When the call came in as a disturbance, the neighbor called it in saying that they had heard a male. He was screaming outside. He didn't make it to the door, but they heard a male screaming outside. They went outside to investigate, and that's when they saw this male. He was injured, standing in the roadway. That neighbor then called the police.
So he never made it into the secondary home?
No.
So it appears everything happened at this house right now?
Apparently so.
Does it look like the two people, was it like a three-way fight? Was the third person somebody they knew? Are you looking for a stranger? I mean, I guess, that sort of...
At this point, from preliminary findings, we suspect that this may be something internal, nothing internal or external, something for the neighborhood people to be concerned about. We don't know the exact motive at this point. That's still under investigation. So, but we do have a potential person of interest that we're looking to talk to at this time.
Who would that person be? I mean, are you guys, is there do you need to give us a description, or you guys got it under control?
Well, at this point, without jeopardizing the investigation, we just want to kind of hold that under our hat for that right now.
So you believe there was a third person involved in the stabbing, and now you're looking for that person of interest?
We think that there was an individual suspect that possibly stabbed our two victims. That's what we think. The female inside, we haven't laid eyes on her. Right now, we're working on a search warrant to get inside the house to see exactly what her injuries are. But we suspect she may have been stabbed as well, but that had not been confirmed at this point.
So you think right now the person that you're looking for may have stabbed these two people for whatever the cause is?
That's possible.
And did all three know each other? Is that what you're working on?
That's still under investigation right now. We're still trying to make that connection at this point. But at this point, nothing's been confirmed.
But you know that the two victims are somehow related?
That's what we're being told.
And they
possibly related.
They live here? The two deceased live here?
That's still under investigation as well. We haven't got confirmation on it. That's why we're waiting on the search warrant, so that we can make sure that once we go in and find any evidence related to this case, that it's going to we'll be able to use it.
Can you been called to this home before for any other incident?
We did a research on the home. Apparently there's been no disturbance calls made here. From my understanding, these people moved in probably about 2 months ago. So there's no history of family violence or any kind of disturbance made.
And the ages of the two victims again?
The female victim's in her 30s. The male victim is in his 20s.
So it sounded like he was trying to get some help running down the street kind of thing.
That's what it appears to be. That's what it sounds like.
Can you talk to us about, I guess there was a blood trail, or it's kind of like this is, like the whole street's blocked off, so.
Right. From, like I said earlier, when the first officer got here, they found a male injured in the house, on the street. And then when they found him, they saw a blood trail leading from his body to a secondary home. And they went to that home to do a welfare check, and that's when they discovered the female inside, injured.
Should anyone in this neighborhood be worried? I mean, I know you're still looking for that suspect, but people here in this neighborhood have questions. I know there was an elementary school that was locked down.
We do not suspect that there's a threat to the neighborhood. Again, we think this could be all internal. So we don't suspect that there's any threat to the neighborhood or kids or anything like that. So right now we're working on making sure that the kids that are getting out of school or, they can't obviously see what's going on here, but we're working on that as well as we speak.
I think that's it.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
The female's body was found in this house. There's a female inside the house deceased. She was living in that house.
What is Spanish or what?
We haven't identified
What?
it. We haven't identified
Spanish? What is it? Hispanic or black? Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right, so you just heard from investigators there giving us a quick briefing about what they know so far. anytime something like this happens, there's just so much they can tell us definitively, but there's also other information that they are still processing. So kind of let's just recap that together here. So at around 12:30, according to investigators, there was a report of a male disturbance. And when they got to the scene there, a deputy found a man that was covered in blood who was saying that he was stabbed. That man was found in the street, and that is where he died. Now, investigators believe that they followed a blood trail, and that led them back to a home where a woman was found dead. Now, it's possible she too may have been stabbed, but they at this point have not been able to get inside the home to really assess where those injuries are coming from that led to her passing away. In terms of the man and the woman, they believe they are related somehow, but there is a third person who is a person of interest that they are currently looking for. And this all seems to be internal, so that's why the investigator was saying that there doesn't appear to be any threat or anything to the public. In terms of the victims, they moved in that area a little while ago, according to investigators, so there's no real history of any disturbances or any calls for service. Again, the woman who was found dead is in her 30s, the man in his 20s. Investigators looking for a third person who they believe is the person of interest who may have caused the deaths of these two individuals. So we'll take a step aside here from Houston Live and Local, take a quick commercial break, and come right back. All right, welcome back to Houston Live and Local. Unfortunately, day 7 of a government shutdown, and it doesn't seem to be no end in sight. What you're looking at now is the Senate floor, and this has pretty much been the way things have been looking here. Pretty quiet inside as of right now. No real bill being talked about, no real solutions being talked about. Both sides are at a standstill here, so this is what we will continue to see for the most part until something gets done. Somebody's got to move. Or the country's going to come to a full stop. Can't have that happening, so we'll see what lawmakers decide before it's all said and done. Again, this is day 7 of that government shutdown. All right, now let's go back to City Council here in Houston, where it's an opportunity for people to come up, voice their concerns about what's happening in the city, and the mayor, as you see there, and others on the council are able to respond. Let's take a listen in and see what the conversation is about now.
State law, property rights. You can't just go out. In fact, do you have a plan for what you would exercise against these projects?
I didn't hear the last your question.
If you had total control, what would you do?
Well,
Which we don't, because we're governed by state laws and property rights. So we are restricted, and that's, I mean, we're all, absolutely every one of us. I saw a project the other day where they're renting out their courtyard, a piece of concrete out the back door that someone has a mattress on. They're renting that. We know how horrible things are in living conditions. We've been to mold-infested sites in Fifth Ward, my staff, Harvey Clement's location. I go on and on. But we're governed by statutes. So it's not as simple as saying, let's do something. You have to have the law on your side, and you have to have an action plan. And that's the struggle.
I appreciate that, and I will say if it was simple enough to give the police $832 million of money we don't have over 5 years, it should be simple enough to help push this through legal to get some relief to some of these people who need it the most.
Councilman Pollard.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for coming forward. Yeah, the Prop A process should be pretty streamlined. I've passed about 10 of these.
All right, and we'll step aside from the City Council to bring you guys one last look at that breaking news that's taking place there in the Cloverleaf area. We just heard from officers a bit ago to give us some details about the scene developing there where 2 people were found dead, again, in the Cloverleaf area. Around 12:30, according to investigators, there was a report of a male disturbance. The man was found covered in blood and saying that he was stabbed. He was found in the street there by a deputy, and that's where he died. Blood then led investigators to a woman in a different house, and she was found dead as well from her injuries. Jillian Hartman is there on the scene. We know that Sam Houston Elementary School is also nearby, but we'll give you some details on that when they become available. For right now, though, I'm Anthony Antoine. Thanks for joining me on Houston Live and Local.
Hi, friends.
Hey, friends. It's Taco Tuesday. Did you know that? But it's not just Taco Tuesday. It's actually also National Taco Day.
Really?
Yeah, it really is.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, you love tacos, right?
I do. I mean, it can be any day of the week.
Yeah.
And we love tacos.
I love tacos, and I used to love Taco Bell, honestly. Like, that was such a college food kind of a thing.
Right, yeah, definitely.
I try to stay away from it now, but that quesadilla is so good.
Even just like the tacos, the flour tortilla, everything.
Their tacos are fire. So Taco Bell is actually celebrating National Taco Day with $1 Cantina chicken soft tacos through its app. Honestly, that sounds amazing.
So it's only for one day?
Yeah, Memorial Tacos will also have $2 tacos all day today. So it's getting to be dinner time. Also, Del Taco is serving up a free The Del Taco with a minimum purchase of $10 on its app. And Torchy's, love me some Torchy's, they are going to be rewarding their members by taking advantage of a BOGO deal for National Taco Day. So, in case you want tacos.
Yes. Well, whatever day of the week it is, at least you can go to the grocery store and get tortillas and make your own tacos.
Yeah.
You know, when I went to your house and I stayed there,
Connor made breakfast tacos.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
It's like any day of the week kind of thing.
No, so Connor, my fiance, his taco game is
so good.
So elevated. When I grew up, taco night was literally ground beef. I mean, we would have all the fixings with it, you know, but just very Americanized tacos, right? His tacos, he makes like his own like chimichurri or like his own like
he's amazing
jalapeno cream sauce that goes on these steak tacos that are just so elaborate.
I've never even had steak tacos until I came to your place.
It's crazy. He goes all out.
I love it.
I love it.
We are obsessed with taco type flavored stuff. We have the taco bowl almost every day or every other day. It's great. It's the reason why I love it so much is because you can take what could be a cheat meal and make it taste like something healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, make it taste like, make it be something healthy, but it tastes indulgent.
We both love taco bowls for dinner.
Yes, but we eat it so much that we get like annoyed about it.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm gonna cook anything, anytime, especially meal prep, it's always like taco bowl, like taco this or that. I don't know. I'm pretty obsessed with it.
Yes.
But another thing that I love and do is hot yoga and hot Pilates. But anyway, hot yoga or not, it turns out that cranking up the heat does not add any advantages for your health over regular yoga. This is kind of devastating news.
It is.
This is all according to a recent research out of India and the United Arab Emirates. The lead researcher said while studios often promote heated classes as superior for circulation, the evidence doesn't support the claims. If you're looking to get the blood pumping, exercise like Tai Chi and Pilates will lead to better outcomes. Okay, but I still suffer through hot Pilates. I do hot Pilates in a 100-degree room because I think that just being in there and being so sweaty and you're almost having a hard time breathing because it's 100 degrees, I feel like it adds to the workout, no?
Yes. So while it might not improve circulation, I mean, there is definitely this detoxifying factor to it. So I think it still does, something. But I will warn against doing these hot yoga classes because you have to have like top-notch sanitary conditions in terms of the cleaning before, after, because people are sweating.
You're sweating everywhere.
It is.
It's disgusting.
So when you go to a very reputable place, then you don't have to worry about all that. But sometimes there have been so many cases that we reported on the news or even like online. I used to do hot yoga and I stopped doing it because the place I was going to wasn't like as sanitary as I thought. But yeah, because all that has, a lot of bacteria and
it's pretty gross.
Yeah.
And then a lot of places, whenever you are talking about hot yoga, they take a holistic approach to cleaning. And while that might be great for the environment, it's not going to kill horrific bacteria and germs.
Yes.
So you gotta be mindful of that. I personally, when I get done with hot yoga, take a Clorox wipe and wipe my mat down. Some people will be like, oh my gosh, that's so toxic. Well, guess what? Not gonna have any bacteria and germs grow on there. But there's so many good hot yoga and hot Pilates places here in Houston that do a great job. And before you go, you should drink electrolytes and be prepared to just be in that room for 1 hour because you're not supposed to walk in and out. It's a whole thing.
It is. And, working out, it's just kind of crazy people's cleaning habits in working out. Like, we have like an extra 1-car garage that we've turned into like our so-called gym. And so, I mean, it is like a gym. And so Daniel and I this morning, we were working out together, and he was like lifting weights, and then he just like put them down. And then I was like, are you going to sanitize that? Like, are we, he's like, well, I normally don't, like, the bench, he just like wiped off the sweat. And I was like, oh, because remember, I'm the one with the issue. He's not the one with the problem. Like, I wish I could be that way, but our gym is very clean.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like going to, like, my sister, as she knows, is a personal trainer. And so she'll just like pick up the equipment. And
I'm not gonna lie, I was recently in a pretty intense workout class where people are really sweating, okay? And you're using equipment, you're switching places, it was a whole thing. And I almost went out of the room to get some of the managers because they were out of wipes.
Okay.
So both the wipes were empty, therefore no one was wiping down benches.
Good
weights.
for you.
So I kind of just was like, I think that we need to tell somebody. But then I kind of was just like in my workout, and I'm like shoving it in the back of my head, like, okay, just get over it. But like, that's disgusting. That's like people's bodily fluid.
No. That is very disgusting. And like cleaning and wiping and just being sanitary is a must, I think.
It's
for
gross
sure.
when you're
even my own sweat. Like, I'm like, okay, I need to wipe all of that out. Like it.
But people don't do it.
No.
So in these particular classes that I'm talking about, I actually wipe before I use and after, which you don't see a lot of people doing that.
Yes.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So typically you won't see anybody doing that. I do that just because, and I think that they are using like pretty strong type of like, more like a Clorox wipe in this place that I'm talking about. So I do think that it is killing germs and bacteria when you are wiping. But people don't always wipe.
Yeah,
it's gross.
Anyway. It is gross, yes. I mean, but I'm trying to, like, I know this is, it's morbid. I wouldn't even go into it.
Well, the first thing I do is after I leave these classes, straight to the bathroom, wash my hands.
You have to.
Yeah, people don't do it. It's so gross. I mean, a good chunk of people do, then a chunk of people don't. And
here's what I'm worried about, like, about the marathon. Like, going to the bathroom.
No one's going to be sweating on you.
No, they're not. Going to the bathroom. Like, because you have to have so much water.
Oh, there's porta potties. They'll be fine. They'll be clean because you got to think they're not going to get a lot of usage.
That's
you know what
true,
I mean?
yeah.
Like, it's not, a 50,000 person event where these are the porta potties. Like, it's like a couple people might use them.
Yeah, you're right.
And they'll have hand sanitizer in them.
Yes, and a lot of them are really, really nice. Yeah. I'm thinking they'll be really nice here.
I used a porta potty at an event when I was at home. And honestly, it was fine. It was clean.
Yeah, even like the Texans tailgate, they have like those porta potties.
And those ones aren't that bad either.